The return of Regulation H is nearly upon us. Actually, there have already been Regulation H tours held online before the official start on September 1st. I have compiled a little list of some of the meta-defining teams of the first part of Regulation H. These are teams that you should be preparing for and have your matchups mapped out before a tournament. I will have the pace for the teams below, so feel free to practice with them, because sometimes using a team is a great way to understand how to beat a team. I will also have any team reports I could find linked in the description as well, so please make sure to check those out. And without any further yap, let's jump right into the teams. The first team I do want to talk about on this list is what I kind of call Sneasler-Polt Balance, and this is a team made and piloted by Michael Kelsch, by Michael Derbesti, for, I believe, he got over 1,000 championship points with this team, so I really think that just speaks to how versatile and how strong this team is, because I think he used it for about 2.5 months. So it's like, this team wasn't an unknown, you know, and it was still able to put up really, really solid results. So I think that just kind of speaks to how strong this team is, and like I said, how versatile it is as well. I talked about this team a little bit in another video I did about top 10 cores to build around for Regulation H, and a lot of those cores are going to be popping up on these teams as well, because I did a lot of research for that video. I wanted to look at what cores did well on what different teams and everything like that. And I think, so it really just goes to show, like, those cores really are putting in a lot, or have put in a lot of work in Regulation H. I will link that in the description as well. But I think, talking about cores, I think one of the things that makes this team so good is it has not one, but two really strong defensive cores, right? So one of them being the fire, water, grass core, yeah. So the fire, water, grass core, one of the reasons this core is so strong is because they cover each other defensively perfectly, right? Let's say you have your Rillaboom on the field and your opponent wants to go for a fire move, oops. You have not one, but two options to swap into that fire move. And the same can be said, you know, let's say Primarina's on the field and they want to hit Primarina with a electric type move. Oops. You have a Rillaboom to swap in. Like, not only is the Rillaboom gonna absolutely devour that, but your AV as well, you know. So they just cover each other perfectly. And so not only does this team utilize the Fire, Water, Grass core, but we also have what I call the Fantasy core. I think I've heard it called that before. I'm gonna go with it. We also have the Fantasy core, which works similarly, and the Fantasy core is a Dragon, Fairy, Steel core, and those types, again, just cover each other really, really nicely. And kind of to add to that, like, there's a lot of parts about this team that I really like. One of them is, let's say your opponent goes Fairy type to cover for the Dragon Darts, because you don't want to take fat, banded Dragon Darts damage. Oopsie. They just have a Sneasler that can click Dire Claw. You know, I just feel like this team is so incredibly well built and really strong, and just has so many options as well. You know, we have Fake Out, we have Redirection, we have Will-O-Wisp to, you know, dampen physical attacks and everything like that. You know, we have Setup over here. We have double Fake Out Molins. Like, I just think there's a lot of this team that is just so versatile and can work in so many different ways. I really wanted to give it a shout on this list. I definitely think you should be prepared for this team, but I also think if you want to give this team a try, you should absolutely try it. I used it in the first part of Reg H. It was really fun, and it kind of, like, really helped me understand how to play a more balancy team in Regulation H. And as I said in the beginning of this video, you know, sometimes using a team is the best way to find out what beats that team. So I highly encourage you, if you are struggling to beat any of these archetypes, use it. I, like, genuinely use it. That's one of the ways I really learned how to play with and against Trick Room. I just used it, spammed it, and I'm not saying, like, I can win it all the time, because I certainly can't. But it really helped me understand both how to use Trick Room and how to beat Trick Room. So I highly, highly recommend that. But I think I'm gonna leave, the last thing I want to say about this team is, Michael Kelsch did release a whole video about this team, a video report. I will have that linked in the description down below, so definitely make sure to check that out. Let's hop in to the next team. The next team I do want to talk about is the Perth Regional winning team, and I kind of call this, like, AV Blood Moon balance, I think, and I something I do want to point out, because the last team, the MDB team that I showed, I also kind of consider that balance as well. And so it's really cool. We have two balance teams here that only share one, yes, one Pokemon in common, and that Pokemon is none other than Sneasely Weasley. So I think it's really cool that we can have two very successful and yet very different balance teams. So this is a team that definitely but uses setup very heavily. I think, like, the Life Orb, Nasty Plot, Golden Go is one of the centerpieces of this team, as well as the Assault Vest, Ursaluna. I really like Assault Vest on Ursaluna. You give yourself a little bit more bulk on the special side. Quite a bit more bulk on the special side. And also, that means you get to run Vacuum Wave. And Vacuum Wave is such a cool move, because Sash Pokemon are quite common in Regulation H, as Sash Pokemon are quite common. Like, Focus Sash is just a common item, right? So, being able to click Vacuum Wave and not have a single Pokemon be immune to that, right? Because of Mind's Eye, even though Vacuum Wave is a fighting type move, you can hit ghost types. So having a priority move that no Pokemon is immune to is huge. And because you're running AV, you wouldn't run Protect. Usually if you are running Life Orb on the Ursaluna, then you would have Protect over the Vacuum Wave spot. But because you're running AV, you don't have Protect, so you have room to run Vacuum Wave, and I really do think Vacuum Wave is really important and a really fun and a really good tech on the Ursaluna as well. You also have the, you have the Haze Dragonite. Haze is really good. We actually saw Haze on the on their bestie team that I just showed on the Primarina. This time it's on the Dragonite, and Haze is just so important. Like, it's just so good into Dondozo matchups. So that's really important. It's also really helpful into Mons like Volcarona that want to set up on you, into Mons like, even like Golden Go that want to set up on you, or Mons like King Gambit that want to Swords Dance, or if you're against an opposing Sneasler that has coaching. The Sneasler doesn't have coaching, the Sneasler does have Throat Chop to hit ghost types, which I really like on this team. But if you're up against a coaching Sneasler, you can just make their coaching boosts disappear, And additionally, it also works really nicely. Like, let's say you literally just want to click Make It Rain. You just want to click Make It Rain with your cheese, right? Your Life Orb, so even though your Life Orb and you do have 124 special attack investment, so you're still doing damage. Like, that is still a strong spread move coming out. But then you can click, right? You can click Make It Rain, and then that same turn you can click Haze. Boom, drop, gone, because Make It Rain does drop your special attack by one stage. So I think the Haze is also really important on here, and then, you have, Incineroar, you have Amoonguss, and you have the Golden Go. It's just like a really solid core, like Incineroar, Amoonguss, that is absolutely nothing new. We see Incineroar, Amoonguss all the time, just so good on balanced teams, You can, if you want, you can click Fake Out, then you can click Parting Shot, you can bring in your Amoonguss, then if you need to, you can swap out your Amoonguss for the Incineroar, bring in Fake Out again, get another Intimidate out, and then, because of Regenerator, that means your Amoonguss is getting more health back, and it's just like, it just can be so tough to play around if you don't have the damage output that you need. Additionally, I do want to talk about this Terra type, right? So on the Perth winning team, we do see Terra Psychic, and that's like, I consider that fairly rare-ish on Amoonguss, right? But I like the Terra Psychic on this team for, I really think it's gotta be for the Size Band matchup, right? Because the Size Band matchup is tough. You're not Terra Dark here. You have one Dark type, but you don't have any way to change up terrains, right? So you have one Pokemon that's immune, you have one Pokemon that resists psychic moves, but then the rest, weak to psychic, neutral, neutral. So, Size Spam is powerful, right? Like, Size Spam is very powerful, and you don't have a way to slow them down with your terrain. So I really like the Psychic here. You can go Terra Psychic, and then you can eat the Psychic moves, and you can respond with a Spore if you need to, anything like that. So I think that's a really fun niche pick on this, like a niche Terra pick on this team for a Psy Spam, which I could definitely see being a little bit of an issue for the team. But the Terra Psychic is a nice way to kind of get through that a little bit. But I really wanted to give this team a shout. This team is just very powerful options, and I definitely think you should be ready to see kind of like an AV Blood Moon balanced team like this. We are in Regulation H, so you knew Rain was going to be on this list, right? You knew Rain was going to be on this list. Rain, look, Archie's here to stay. So here I have a pretty standard Rain team. This team did get top 8 at the Perth Regionals, and I actually have 2 Rain teams that I have loaded up. So this is just the first one. This one's standard Rain. So actually this video is gonna be more than 6 teams, but I did my best to cut it down. But there's actually like so many teams in Reg H. But so I definitely wanted to show standard Rain, right? We have the Pelipper, Sash Pelipper, Tailwind Hurricane Weatherball in combination with the AV Stamina Archaludon, and I definitely talked about this core a bunch in my 10 cores video, just because it's so strong. Look how stinky and strong this Pokemon is, right? So you get Electro Shot, 100% accurate, 130 base power, and it increases your special attack by 1, and it has no charge in the rain. That is so good. Chat, that is so good. And then additionally, you have Stamina, right? Stamina. This Pokemon's defense is raised by 1 stage after it is damaged by a move. So let's say your opponent wants to Snarl you down. Your opponent wants to click Snarl, is saying, I'm not letting you get that Electro Shot boost. You're not getting that boost. You have Pelipper, you have Arch, I'm clicking Snarl, there's no Wide Guard, haha, got him. Wrong! They simply don't have you. Because now they are increasing, they're going to be doing very little damage. Snarl is not the most powerful move. You are Assault Vest. They're not going to be doing very much damage. And they're increasing your defense. Boom! Press them with your body. Like, that's wild. This Pokemon, wild. This Pokemon can be very, very hard to KO. So, you know, standard Rain Core, we have the Basculegion, Choice Band Basculegion. Again, you know, if they think, okay, you have special attackers, I'm gonna click Snarl, I'm gonna click Light Screen, like, I'm just gonna not let you get a hold in this game, boom. Hit him with the huge, you know, Choice Band in Rain, Wave Crash, Flip Turn. Flip Turn's really fun, it lets you reposition, and that can be very important if you get into Weather War. You know, we have Amoonguss and Golden Go. I talked about this in my 10 cores video as well. Putting a strong Steel type and putting a strong Grass type on your Rain team, that's nothing new. That is just good, solid team building. The Rain protects both of these Pokemon that are weak to Fire from those Fire type moves. Additionally, you know, your Rain Mons, Golden Go is also weak to Ground. Again, it's a little different because we have Terra now, but it's like, who wants to bring their Ground Pokemon into like, oops, Water type, oops, Water type, and then, you know, not Water type, but can go big, Draco Meteor, can go Terra Bug to resist the ground type damage as well. So just a really solid, really powerful team that also, once again, has a lot of options. You have 2 setup options. You have physical damage, you have special damage, you have Fake Out, Parting Shot, Knock Off, all that kind of stuff, immunity to Spore, immunity to Spore, immunity to Spore. So Amoonguss, which can be annoying for Rain teams. You have 3 Spore immunities, and you can hit Amoonguss super effective with a big Hurricane, you know. Amoonguss, if it's at the end of the game, and Basculegion's one of the last Pokemon left, like, opposing Amoonguss doesn't want to take a Choice Band last respects. That is powerful. So just a really solid team. You should be prepared to see Rain. The next Rain team I do want to talk about is actually the LAIC finalist team. It is a different flavor of Rain. We have some of the same pieces, you'll notice. We have some of the same pieces, but it's definitely a different flavor. We have the Arch, we have the Pelipper, and we have the Golden Go, but they are different sets, right? This Pelipper, Muddy Water instead of Weather Ball, but aside from that, same set. Golden Go, this is Scarf Golden Go with Trick and Protect. The other Golden Go was Life Orb. And the Archaludon, this is really this is one of the big interesting parts of this team, right? We have the Archaludon here. Archaludon rockin' Snarl, the other Archaludon was not, and this Archaludon is also Terra Fighting. So Terra fighting for huge, you are really committing to that body press damage, which I really do like. Additionally, defense, you are bold. You can't see down here, but you are bold. So you are plus defense. So you can really do a lot of damage immediately. You're also going to be taking less damage from physical moves because of your boldness. Additionally, we have the Sinistra on here. Just like we just talked about how difficult our Chaladon can be to KO, and now you have the Sinistra that can switch in and out. It can, the Sinistra has Hospitality, which does, upon switch and heal your Pokemon. So, like, you don't even have to take a turn to click Life Dew. You can click Life Dew. If you're out there, you totally can, but you don't even have to take a turn. You can swap in, heal up the Pokemon, and then hit back with massive damage, right? The Sinistra also gives you Redirection, also gives you Trick Room, gives you Life Dew for more healing, and gives you Matcha Gotcha, which does have a burn chance to just further weaken physical attackers that way anyway. Additionally, you do have the Dragonite. Again, we talked about it a little bit. Dragonite, Scale Shot Dragonite with Haze. Scale Shot's nice. With loaded dice, it's guaranteed 4 to 5 hits, meaning you should be able to KO all Sneaslers with that, unless, like, the Sneasler has been coached up by something, or I don't know, whatever that Sneasler is running. But it's a really great way to be able to KO Sneasler, because a lot of Sneaslers are Sash, so you can break the Sash and KO at that same turn. Additionally, you have Tailwind, so we have Tailwind Trick Room threat. You can kind of decide however you want to attack the opponent. And then, like I said, you have the Haze for those Dozo matchups, for any of those setup mons and everything like that. So just another very, very solid Rain team, but a different Rain team, but you should also very much be prepared to play against this version of Rain. Charizard has entered the chat. You knew I was gonna put Marco's LAIC winning Sun team on this list. Yes, the finals of LAIC was in fact a weather war. I will be doing a video about weather wars, but that's a different conversation. So I had to put this on here, really. You should be prepared to see Sun. The Charizard is so powerful. If we go over the damage modifiers, right? Stab, because you're a fire type. In the Sun, solar power boosted, choice specs boosted. So few Pokemon want to take these moves. Want to eat Overheat, want to eat Heat Wave. Like, the damage output is absolutely mad. If you go back, if you haven't watched any LAIC and you go back and watch it, you'll see Charizard just go absolutely nutty with the damage. We also have the Torkoal, who sets up the Sun. This Torkoal is the Eject Pack variant, which is really helpful for repositioning. Repositioning is just a very important part of VGC. Board control, board state is a very important part of VGC, and especially when you have weathers. So this means that, let's say you lead P2 and Torkoal, you can click, if you're in the position, you can click Trick Room with your P2, and then you can click Overheat with your Torkoal, not only getting big damage, but because the Overheat lowers your special attack, you get swapped out with your eject Pack, and then boom, you get your Ursa in, your Flame Orb activates that turn. Now you have all of Trick Room with your P2 and your Ursa. Like, it just works so well, Then you can bring your Torkoal back in if you want more weather control, everything like that. And not only, though, does this team use Sun, but this team also very much utilizes another really important core that I talked about in the cores video, and that I will be showing other teams with, but is the P2 Ursaluna. This is just a very standard, very strong, right? Two bulky but powerful pieces that, if your opponent wants to try to outpace you, like outpace your fast mode, you can punish them by going for your slow mode. So I think that's another really important part of this team. And I gotta talk about the Puffball. I love Jumpluff. I love a meta where Jumpluff can shine, even though I do find it to be quite annoying, but I still love Jumpluff. So, Jumpluff with Chlorophyll, this does double Jumpluff speed, so you have fast Sleep Powder. You can also reset your own Sun with Sunny Day. It gives you Redirection. It also gives you Tailwind. Additionally, Jumpluff, like, there's a lot of moves you can run on Jumpluff. You can run, Jumpluff gets Encore, and this Encore is so good because fast Encore that isn't Prankster is super good, because that means you can Encore Pokemon like Incineroar, you can Encore Dark types into a move, which Prankster Pokemon cannot do. Additionally, running Covert Cloak, It just means, you know, you can't fake out Jump Bluff. Like, Jump Bluff is getting a move off. It's hard to outpace. If you have Sun Up, it's hard to outpace. You are getting a move up, whether that is Sleep Powder, whether that's Sunny Day, Rage Powder, Tailwind, anything like that. Like, you know you get to click a move. So, I really just wanted to talk about Sun. I think you should absolutely be ready to face Marco's team. I think you should absolutely be ready to face Sun. Sun plus Trick Room in general. So definitely keep your eye out for that. Yeah, okay. You knew this was coming. You knew this was coming. So this is size spam. What I'm gonna call size spam hard TR, even though there is kind of like a little fast mode, but this is my recreation of Sun Spam hard TR here, and I talked about size spam hard TR in the chords video as well, but this is like as standard of a team as I could really think of. I think Hisui and Lilligant I've definitely also seen be Mousehold as well. Mousehold's really fun into like Pop Bomb Mouse. Pop Bomb's really good into something like Sash, Indeedee Male, that would want to click Imprison so that you can't set up Trick Room. I think that it's a very, very good option for that. But I put Hisui and Lilligant here, because Hisui and Lilligant gives you, you know, that kind of fun, sneaky, fast mode with your Charcoal Torkoal. You can click after you just get a fat Terrifier Eruption off Charcoal boosted Terrifier in the sun. Yikes. Yikes. But then additionally, you have Fast Sleep Powder, you have Close Combat, and you can hit them with Solar Blade. Your Terra Ghost Focus Sash, meaning if you don't want to bring in your Indeedee to block Fake Out, you can just go Terra Ghost, block Fake Out that way, you know. But you know, the other pieces of the team, we have the Hatterene and the Indeedee, very common size spam core. Hatterene has a staggering special attack stat, and then you're clicking Expanding Force in terrain. Yikes town for your opponent. If your opponent wants to bring dark types to absorb the Expanding Force, you do have that Dazzling Gleam. And, you know, a lot of the common dark types in the meta, such as King Gambit or as Incineroar, do take neutral, thanks to their second typing, do take neutral to the Dazzle, but you'll still get very, very important chip damage. Additionally, boom, you have your Gallade here, right? Gallade, I just think, is so good on these team comps, because like I said, let's say your opponent wants to bring those dark types to kind of eat some of the Expanding Force. Oopsie. What do we have here? We have Sharpness boosted Sacred Sword. It's so good. And then if your opponent wants to Terra their dark type to eat the Sacred Sword, whoopsie! Hit him with that Expanding Force. You know, it just, like, if you can bait them into the Terra, like, you know you have a way to hit them for big damage. If you can call, even if you don't even have to call the Terra, because you just know. You can cover for both. You can cover for both if they Terra and if they don't Terra. Additionally, Gallade does give you Wide Guard, which can be imperative to Trick Room setup. You know, if you don't, we just covered Charizard, right? Like, you know, okay, what are we gonna click into Charizard? We can click Wide Guard and we can click Trick Room. We can click Follow Me, we can click Trick Room. Like, the Wide Guard gives you options into big spread damage. And then, of course, we just talked about the Ursaluna. Ursaluna is so good, so powerful, Guts boosted, Facade, Earthquake, Headlong, and again, also great into pesky dark types, just because of the two dark types that your opponents would want to be bringing. Both Incin and the King Gambit are weak to, because of their second typing, are weak to ground. You just make it so it feels like there's no safe bring into your team. And you just have so many options with this team. So, you know, I had to give Size Spam Hard Trick Room a little shout, but there is actually a second Hard Trick Room team, Size Spam Hard Trick Room team, that I do want to talk about. I was absolutely not going to miss the opportunity to talk about this top 4 Louisville team that had, yes, you see that correctly, Eggy! We do have Eggy, and Eggy kind of gives you, like, because you're Chlorophyll, it's a Sun, Size Spam, Trick Room team, but the Eggy gives you fast Expanding Force, and I actually think fast Size Spam, and it's not just because I'm an Espeon enjoyer, I really do think fast Size Spam can absolutely steal games. Like, a lot of people are prepped. They might be prepped for the slower Size Spam, but a lot of people might not be prepped for the fast Size Spam. And not only are you fast Size Spam, but you're fast Sleep Powder. And we're kind of talking about that with Lilligant too, right? Not Lilligant. Actually, yeah, Lilligant. But both Lilligant, another thing that this list is actually showing me, fast Sleep Powder, very good. Because we've had Executor, we've had Lilligant, and we've had Jumpluff. All on this list, meta-defining, fast sleep powder, boom, hit 'em, get 'em. So, I definitely wanted to talk about this team a little bit, because not only does it have the Executor, but it also has Choice Specs, Hisuian Zoroark. So I kind of want to use this team as a way to also show you can have a standard idea. That idea being Sun, Psy-Spam, Hard Trick Room, but you can so easily put your flair on it, and if you can find a way, if you can find an opening in the meta, like clearly, this got top 4 at Louisville Regional, it's got top 4 at a regional championship. Clearly, the meta also was not quite ready for fast Psy-Spam. So I think a lot of these cores and a lot of these teams, you can kind of mold and fit and change into how you like to play and what feels good to you, what feels good into the meta at that time. So I would say, like, this is definitely, you should be prepared for fast Psy-Spam. And I think a lot of people at Louisville, a lot of people who had to play against this also wish that they were prepared for fast Psy-Spam. So there's 2 ways to kind of run the Psy-Spam team. Both teams have their fast mode and have their slow mode. One fast mode just was kind of more like the Lilligant, and then this fast mode is more of the Hisuian Zoroark and more of the Executor. But definitely, have your matchup into Psy-Spam, have it. Have it mapped out, have it written down, know it. The final team I want to cover today is just like what I call P2 Ursaluna. This is a very standard P2 Ursaluna team. This team did get top 4. I believe it got 3rd. At the Perth Regional. And then another version of this team, actually with Kilowattrel, got also top 4, I think got 4th at that same regional. And again, the P2 Ursa is also on Margot's team, so there isn't one way to run P2 Ursa. I just think, I definitely wanted to give P2 Ursa a shout. I believe P2 Ursa also got, I believe 3 P2 Ursa teams also got top 4 at the Baltimore Regional Championships. One of them had Tyranitar over the Incineroar, and I think the other 2 had Flamigo on them, if I'm not mistaken. So again, there isn't one singular way, but a lot of these P2 Ursa teams will have P2, Ursaluna, Golden Go, Amoonguss, and then a Dark type, usually Incineroar, but on that one team, it was the Tyranitar, which I think makes a lot of sense. Like, you know, you get the Dark typing for the Psy-Spam, but then you also get Weather Control. And as that is the third, that is, like, I've already covered how strong 2 weathers are in Regulation H. So I think having an option to have Weather Control is very strong and is very good. But essentially, P2 Ursaluna, you know, P2 I think is a fantastic Trick Room setter. I'm totally not biased at all. I really do just love Porygon 2. But Porygon 2 has a absolutely nutty amount of bulk, especially with the Eviolite. Also having access to a move like Recover, so if your opponent wants to play passive, because one of the most common ways to beat Trick Room is to stall out said Trick Room either by swapping or by clicking double protect button, right? Or clicking the protect button. You can punish them so badly by just clicking Recover. You can recover off all that damage. They spent turns and turns going for damage into your P2, and like that, with one button, healed. And that just means you're setting yourself up in a position to click Trick Room again, or to just be a menace with Ice Beam, or to just be a menace with Terra Fighting, Terra Blast, or just regular stab Terra Blast, you know? We already covered Ursaluna, one of the best Pokemon in the format. I believe it's not a hot take, literally in the least. You know, you have your Headlong Rush, Facade, Earthquake, you have your spread type damage, you have your single target damage. This way you can, you know, you can get around Follow Me, but then you can also get around Wide Guard if you're worried about Wide Guard. But I think there's a lot less Wide Guard in Reg H than, you know, we saw in a regulation like Reg I or Reg G. You have your Amoonguss, you have Rage Powder, you have Spore, you know, just another absolute menace in and out of Trick Room. Then you have the Golden Go, which is very good outside of Trick Room. Terra Water, so you have a defensive Terra, so you can kind of sit on the board a little bit longer, but you are still rocking that Life Orb, meaning if you don't have a chance to click Nasty Plot, you are still pumping out very, very solid damage just because of the Life Orb and because of the you have 228 EVs in special attack, so you're just pumping out so much damage. Again, another loaded dice Dragonite with this exact same set on the list, just to show you how good this set is. I think one of the reasons is because it is so good into Sneasler, and you know, like I have mentioned many a time, the Haze is fantastic for any Pokemon that want to set up, and particularly Dondozo. I think you can never have too many answers to Dondozo. And then, you know, it also gives you a Tailwind mode. That way, your opponent like, I love Tail Room teams. I just think Tail Room teams are so fun. In best of 1, in best of 3, just because it forces your opponent to respect both a slow mode and a fast mode, and presumably the way they would play into those two modes is different. So it's like already just boom, in team preview, you're putting them in a spot where they're like, okay, are they going TR? Are they going Tailwind? Like, how do I cover for both? So I would say have your P2 Ursa balance team mapped the heck out. These are definitely not the only meta-defining teams at all. Like, Regulation H, I think, actually has a lot of teams, a lot of meta-defining teams, a lot of teams that you should be prepped for, but these are the 6 that I think are really, really important to make sure you're prepared for, to make sure you know how to play against, to make sure you know how to play with, if that's something that is interesting to you. Let me know if you'd like me to make a part 2 to this, just because I could easily find 6 more teams, or 6, like, I had more than 6 teams here, but I could easily find 6 more variations of teams, or 6 more cores that I think are very important to be prepared for. I do want to say thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I have a really good time doing these kind of meta-analysis videos, kind of talking about Regulation H. It's been really fun for me. I'm definitely going to at least one Regulation H tournament, and I do believe it is confirmed. We have it confirmed that we are going to have more Regulation H after November, because originally it was confirmed through November, but we're definitely going to have more post-November until Champions comes out. That is 100% confirmed. So yeah, I'm here to play some Reg H. I'm here to yap about Reg H a little bit, and if you did enjoy this content at any time, please feel free to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. It really genuinely does help me out. And thank you all. I hope you have a great day. Okay, I'll see you in the next one. Bye!